Hi, it's Leanne from Epic Yoga, and I'm here to break down Chaturanga Dandasana, or Chaturanga as it's sometimes called. Chaturanga is four-limb staff pose. You might know it more as high plank down to low plank. The actual pose is that low push-up position. That's the Chaturanga part, and it's got four limbs on the floor. So your hands are on the floor and your feet are on the floor. And your body is in one stiff, solid line. When someone's starting out, this can be quite challenging as you're building the upper body strength required for it. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you some tips that are great when you're starting, and then I'm going to give you some things to think about for after you've been practicing or when you want to mix it up a little bit. So, Chaturanga, you can start with your hands here if you're starting from tabletop. Come out to a high plank. Now, a lot of times when people try to go to Chaturanga, they try to just bend their elbows. The first thing we want to look at is hand placement. So my hands are spread wide. My wrists are parallel with the front of my mat. So that little crease in my wrist is parallel with the front of my mat. And I like my hands pretty wide, so my pinkies are right about at the edges of my mat. And then my shoulders start out directly above my wrists. So high plank here. I'm on the balls of my feet. My quads are engaged, my glutes are engaged, my whole body is engaged here. And then I'm going to slightly soften between my shoulder blades. Now, as I soften between my shoulder blades, I pull the pit of my belly in and up. And then when I begin to rock, I'm going to rock forward a couple inches and then bend my elbows and come down till my arms are about parallel with the floor. Now again, when you're starting out, that requires a lot of strength. So here's some ideas. One, make sure your form is good. If you're just trying to bend your elbows and come down without that rock forward, it doesn't really work. Like I can't really get down, and that's when people kind of go crashing down to the floor. Maybe you've seen that in a yoga class, or maybe that's been you yourself. But if you just rock forward on your toes, you can then either bring your knees down, still keeping the belly engaged and active, and then come down till the upper arm bones are parallel. That works. But here's something else that I like even more. I love to use a block, and I'll put a block right under my thighs. So when I'm coming down, I'm not having to handle my whole weight. I've got the block under my thighs supporting my body. So from here, come on up to high plank, rock forward, bend the elbows, boom, the thighs are caught by the block. It still allows me to engage my upper body, to really engage the pose, but I'm able to maintain good form. What we see sometimes as people are learning this pose is it's more like Crash-uranga. It looks like this. They'll start out high plank, and then maybe even they rock forward, but as they're developing the strength, the butt stays up and the elbows flare out and the shoulders come down. That's not great for your shoulder. So you want to avoid doing that if you either put the knees down or if you use the block technique. Either one will work. Now, if you've been practicing for a while and you've mastered Chaturanga and you want to take it to the next level or a different level, you can jump into Chaturanga. Here's the thing with jumping though. You want to make sure your elbows are bent when you come down. So this is what it might look like. Rise up, bow forward. Then as you come to your halfway lift, either hands up the shins or just bending your knees, plant your hands, jump back, land with bent elbows, okay? So that's one option. Now another option, if you want to start to take it to the next level, grab a block again. We have these very heavy wooden blocks in the studio. You can put it between your thighs, and that really causes internal rotation. Rise up, bow, half lift, jump with the block. Now, the block causes you to have that engagement in the lower body, so you've really got to hug into the center line with the block between your thighs. That's one way you can take it to the next level or a different level. You could also try to do a couple chaturangas with one hand on a block and one hand not. So even with knees down, you could still play with that. High plank, rock forward, low plank. Back up if you want to do it without the knees on the floor. It's about to there. Okay, so those are some ways that you can play with chaturanga. I hope it's helpful, and I hope to see you online or in the studio real soon. Bye for now.